Happy New Year. I have decided to tell you about my books which I read in 2023. I read around 24 classics. First I wanted to rank all of them from the worst to best, but I just couldn't. I'm not articulate enough, let's say, to talk about it, and I didn't know how to rank them. I know my best books and I know my worst books, so I decided that I would do 2 videos, like ranking the worst classics I read in 2023 and the 5 best classics I read in 2023, and maybe I'll do a couple of honorable mentions. Before I start, I would like to apologize in advance to people who are fans of certain writers who I'm going to talk about as the ones which I didn't enjoy. But I'm allowed to dislike a book. I also don't like if somebody talks badly about Duty the Obscure from Thomas Hardy, and it's one of my favorite books. So I'm not a professional person in literature. This is just based on my enjoyment as an ordinary person reading classics. The only classic which I DNF'd, did not finish, I'm not counting those as one of those worst ones, because I only read 60 or 70 pages. The Pickwick Papers from Charles Dickens. It's got lots of lovely illustrations in them. I tried to read it. I tried to listen to audiobook alongside reading it. I tried to just listen to audiobook. I just couldn't get into it. I wanted to be involved in project reading everything from Dickens in publication order, and I just couldn't even get through the first book. Only book which I ever read from Charles Dickens is Little Dorrit, and I loved it. So I thought, of course, I can do all of them, and I couldn't. But I'm planning to read it one day. So this book has no ranking because it wouldn't be fair, because I was incapable of reading it. For 2024, I might read maybe his most popular book, like The Tale of Two Cities, or maybe advise me where to start with Dickens, because starting in publication order wasn't a good idea. Okay. The least favorite classic of 2023 and the least favorite book of 2023 is Mrs Dolloway from Virginia Woolf. Luckily, I didn't buy this book. This is from the library. I read it. I finished it recently. This is my second last book I read in 2023. After that, I only read Cranford from Elizabeth Gaskell. Okay, what is it about? This book got only, it's a very short book. It's got 180 pages. This book took me 4 days to read, which I expected to read in one day. I read that book 4 times. I listened to it on audiobook. I listened to it while I was reading it. I was rereading pages and chapters or whatever parts. If I had to describe Mrs Dolloway in one word, I would say it was painful. Sorry, but I never read anything worse in my life. What is it about? Clarissa Dalloway, elegant and vivacious, is preparing for a party and remembering those she once loved. In another part of London, Septimus Warren Smith is shell-shocked and on the brink of madness. Smith's day interweaves with that of Clarissa and her friends, their lives converging as the party reaches its glittering climax. It's about Mrs. Dolloway preparing for a party and is set in a way of stream of consciousness, so you're getting to know characters not just through whatever they're thinking. And it's about Mrs. Dalloway, her husband Richard Dalloway, her daughter Elizabeth, and someone like her ex-lover Peter coming to her party. Nothing really happens. I like character-driven books, but this was painful. I was so excited, and this is the biggest disappointment of the year. Sorry. Planning to continue read Virginia Woolf. There is a book called Flash about dog, from a perspective of a dog, and I heard it's only 108 pages, so even if it's painful again, at least it's half of the size of Mrs. Dolloway. Maybe the writer is not for me. Maybe I'm the problem. I don't know. Second least favorite book of the year. It's a Laodicean from Thomas Hardy. And bear in mind that I read all of the books from Thomas Hardy, and this is my least favorite book from all of the Thomas Hardys. This book was on the last place until I read Mrs. Dolloway, literally till almost end of the year. That was almost the winner of the worst book ever. Well, not ever, of the year. This book is about, let's listen, is Paula Power has inherited Stancy Castle from her father, a wealthy railway magnate. The ancient castle is in need of modernization, and she commissions George Somerset, a young architect, to undertake the work. When he declares his love for her, Paula is torn between her admiration for the forward-thinking Somerset and the old-fashioned romanticism of Captain Stancy, whose family once owned the castle. So basically, Laodicean means person who is very lukewarm, doesn't know what they want. And Paula is deciding basically between two men who of course want her. And I really didn't like Paula. I find her very unpleasant, not very nice. She would be like, oh, I don't really want you, but keep writing me letters and kind of leading them on, and you wouldn't know where you stand. And the ending of this book is terrible. It's not tragic, but it's terrible. And the last sentence, oh my god. This is like really, really unlikable character. But I have to applaud Thomas Hardy for making me feel that way, that I can dislike someone that much. It's not like she's someone you would hate, like Angel Clark from Test of the Devil, nothing like that. But she's just really unpleasant. Her personality, I'm sorry. And first 100 books was really boring, just talking about castle and this architect, how he's trying to renew the castle, because obviously he wanted her and he was trying to excuses to come to the castle. And I have, this is such like a beautiful penguin classic, Yeah. So I was thinking of giving just this book away, but it's so pretty. I'll keep it. Third book, I don't have a cover. I just borrowed the book from the library, but I will link down below what it is. It's called Evelina or Evelina from Fanny Burney or Frances Burney. I just wanted to be included in a Feb Regency readathon, and they were reading Evelina, and I never read anything from Regency era knowingly. Maybe I have, but I don't know. And what was for me selling point is that the lady, the writer, inspired Jane Austen, that Pride and Prejudice was written not based on Evelina, but was big inspiration. So I was like, okay, sold. The book is written in epistolary, like in a letter format, which I was very excited about. And it started as a 5-star read, but progressively was getting more and more boring and repetitive and predictable. It's about a beautiful woman called Evelina, who is 17-year-old from the country, and she will come to London, and she would like to find her place in the society. She would like to go to theaters, and she will attract lots of suitors because she's very beautiful. But I enjoyed this book immensely more than Mrs Dolloway or Laodicean. I rated 2.5 stars, and I really liked the ending, but it wasn't like bad 2.5 stars, but everything else what I read was so much better. So sorry, but it was very like meh. 2.5. Yeah. So what do I have? 3, 4. I read everything from Thomas Hardy, and my second least favorite book ever is The Well-Beloved, with the Pursuit of the Well-Beloved from Thomas Hardy. This is almost everyone the least favorite book. This isn't my least favorite book. It says The Well-Beloved completes this cycle of Hardy's great novels, reiterating his favorite themes of a man, eternal quest for perfect in both love and art, and the suffering that ensues. Jocelyn, celebrated sculptor, tries to create an image of his ideal woman, his imaginary well-beloved, in stone, just as he tries to find her in flesh. Basically, he's just a player. He's interested in lots of women, and he says that his well-beloved is in a spirit, and the spirit goes from one woman into another, who is always younger and younger. And he gets involved with this family. This book is weird, but I rate it 3 stars, because even though this book is weird, I wasn't bored. I was bored with all the other books I mentioned. This is the first book of 2023 who is ranked the lowest, but it's first 3-star, and I wasn't bored. It's about this player who believes that his woman hops in a spirit from one woman into another. I hate to say that, but I was less disgusted by this book than Behavior of Laodicean Polar Power. And number 5, this is also a 3-star book, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is, I'm sorry, almost everyone's favorite childhood book. I was very excited reading it because, as you see, it's got huge letters, very easy to read. Took me a couple of days to read it, but I didn't enjoy it very much. I rank it 3 stars. It's about this family who's got 4 daughters, Meg, Jo, Amy and Beth, and is set in during Civil War, and their father is going to fight in Civil War, and they stay alone just with their mum, and they experience lots of poverty and how they deal with it, and different personalities they have. It should sound like a really nice book, but it's so, someone called it syrupy sweet, saccharine, so sweet that I was cringing. If it wasn't as syrupy sweet, I would rank it much higher, but that's why it's only 3 stars, and it's 5th least favorite book. No, this 5th least favorite classic of the year 2023, but it's still 3 stars. I could never love anyone as I love my sisters. That's very nice. Okay, I think I'm going to finish the video with these. Afterwards, I'm going to record video with my top favorite classics of 2023, top 5. I'm sorry if I upset anyone who cares about these things, but this is just based on my enjoyment, and as I said before, I'm allowed to dislike books. I wish you all the best, Happy New Year and happy reading, and lots of good books in 2024. Bye.